On this episode of This, That, and All Things Cinema, I'm going to be talking about the Canon 1DX-Mark III. Hello and welcome to another installment of the This, That, and All Things Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Ryan David Rogers. Now, admittingly, when I was looking through some of the movie news that I was originally thinking of talking about before getting to the big thing, which is the 1DX-Mark III, admittingly, there wasn't really that much that I found that interesting. I mean, yeah, there was casting for the Elvis Presley biopic. There was Robert De Niro giving some comments about the whole de-aging CGI that was done for The Irishman. But that's kind of really it, and it just didn't really interest me anywhere near as much as the news about the 1DX-Mark III. Now, for those who don't know, for the video portion of This, That, and All Things Cinema, I am shooting on Sony camera. I did decide to switch to Sony for the sake of my wedding videography business. And I do have some good reasons behind that. And if you're interested in finding out what those reasons are, I am going to be uploading a video on Wednesday, this October 29th. No, wait, October 30th. About what those reasons are. And if you're at all curious, subscribe to the Thorndike Productions YouTube channel or follow the Thorndike Productions Facebook page. And when that video is out, you'll be the first to know. Having said all that, I'm still sticking with Canon lenses. Mainly because I already have a few of them, although some of them are not really like the top end. Like, got a Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter, got a Canon 18 to 135 kit lens, and of course, 50 mil 1.4. That thing's amazing. And originally, when I was planning out what gear I was going to be upgrading to, I was originally looking to stick with Canon, but I really did not like the SL3 when I rented it for a wedding I did a while back. And of course, when they released the Canon 90D, they were like, yeah, let's not include 24 frames a second. And then I guess they decided, you know what, there was enough of a backlash that they're going to be including it in a firmware update. I mean, of course, straight out of the box, the C500 Mark II would have course include 24 frames a second, and I'm hoping the 1DX-Mark III, which is, I'm finally getting around to actually talking about it, is gonna include. The reason why the 1DX-Mark III, like some of the functionalities, it's like Canon's highest end photography video hybrid camera. Because the 1DX-Mark II, you could do 4K at 60 frames a second and all kinds of photo-themed stuff that I don't really know about because I'm not a photographer. And of course, it would be super expensive. Like, I think the 1DX-Mark II is like $5,500. And at the moment, there's no pricing on what the 1DX-Mark III is going to be, but I have a couple of theories as to what that is, and I'll get to that in a moment. But first, I kind of want to talk about some of the stuff that's going to be the specs that's going to be in the 1DX-Mark III. So, according to Cinema 5D, it's going to be including RAW, which is the first for a Canon photography and / video hybrid camera that doesn't get hacked by Magic Lantern. Because at this point, if you wanted RAW in one of your Canon DSLRs, you would need to use third-party firmware Magic Lantern. And even then, depending on which camera you hacked, you can only get to a certain extent, like a certain resolution. Like, I think the 5D Mark III is the only one that could get you full HD. If that's something you need, and you're not just like, okay, I'm just gonna like crop it internally to 2.4. So the idea of Canon actually implementing raw video into the 1DX Mark III is definitely interesting. And I could definitely see it being like, I'm imagining it's going to be cheaper than the Canon C200, which at the moment I think it's like about a little under $7,000. Like I think it's like 6,500 or something like that. So I'm imagining it's going to be a little bit cheaper than the C200. That or it's going to be around the same price as a C200 news, and it's just going to be a matter. It's going to create a new used market for the C200. But then again, at the same time, looking at some of the other specs, the 1DX Mark III feels like it could be a potential upgrade to the C200, since it's also going to be including 10-bit 422 internal of Canon log and also dual CFast card slots, CFast Express card slots. Which both of those things to me is definitely interesting, because at this point, consumer grade cameras that include 10-bit would be the Panasonic GH5, GH5S. I think one of the Fujifilm cameras also does 10-bit. But that's kind of about it. I know some of Canon's most recent SLRs, like the SL3, the 90D, you can do 10-bit through an external recorder. And that's, to me, that's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But not as amazing as being able to do 10-bit internal, which of course is going to definitely call for faster cards, hence the dual CFast Express. And of course, it could do 4K 60 frames a second, which is something the 1DX Mark II was able to do previously. I think only because I'm not really sure what the price is going to be. I know it's probably going to end up being a bit more expensive than the 1DX Mark II. That's kind of a given since it's like a beef up version. But at the same time, is it going to be like, it's going to end up being like the same price that the C200 is now, and the C200 is just going to go down in price? Is it going to be a case where it's, I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how it's going to turn out, and I will be following up on this when more news comes about. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm sorry this was a bit of a shorter podcast, but hey, when you have not much to work with, you do what you can do. So I guess that's about it. My name is Ryan. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm out. Peace.